Whatever side you're on, both sides should be angry at Stephanie Jones for starting this mess in the first place. And now Justin, thankfully, along with Jennifer Ael, are suing his former publicist, Stephanie Jones. Stephanie Jones initiated this catastrophic sequence of events.
Jennifer Ael was ambushed in a Beverly Hills office, a security guard blocking her exit. Under immense pressure and without legal counsel, she was forced to surrender her personal cell phone, the one she'd used since high school, containing her entire digital life. Hours later, the stolen data from that very phone was allegedly handed directly to Blake Lively's publicist. This wasn't an oversight. This was a direct weaponized transfer of private information, igniting a catastrophic PR war. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds suddenly found themselves trapped in a brutal scandal after Justin Baldoni filed suit against his former publicist, Stephanie Jones, who was allegedly pocketing suspicious payments from their side. The silence after that data transfer was deafening, signaling the start of a battle that would unravel reputations and expose the dark underbelly of Hollywood PR. This shocking move by Stephanie Jones initiated a catastrophic sequence, leaving both sides reeling and the industry in disarray.
In Hollywood are afraid of that Stephanie was doing all this to massage and get her.
The core of this meltdown rests with Stephanie Jones, Justin Baldoni's former publicist. She's now being sued by Baldoni and Jennifer Ael, accused of initiating this entire mess. Allegations suggest Jones was quietly pocketing suspicious payments from Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' camp, acting against her own clients' interests. The industry whispers are that Jones was deliberately orchestrating chaos, not to protect Baldoni, but to align herself with Team Blake. She was tasked with guarding Baldoni's secrets, not selling them off like bargain bin goods to his rivals. Jones, however, was about to discover Baldoni wasn't bluffing. He came armed with receipts, and things were set to turn ugly fast.
And now Justin, thankfully, along with Jennifer Ael, are suing his former publicist, Stephanie Jones, alleging that she maliciously leaked texts that sparked the legal battle with Blake Lively.
Stephanie Jones built a fearsome reputation across Hollywood, known as someone you absolutely never wanted to cross. As the CEO of Jones Works PR, her operations were reportedly fueled by intimidation, manipulation, and erratic, relentless control. Her client list read like an industry power catalog, including names like Dwayne Johnson, Jeff Bezos, Tom Brady, and more recently, Blake Lively. Yet, beneath the polished branding and strategic media spins, she was infamous for chaos. Former staff describe a constant state of fear where crying at desks was common, and Jones allegedly even FaceTimed ill employees, sometimes even at a funeral, just to ensure they weren't fabricating excuses. Her methods didn't just cross lines, they obliterated them entirely.
That Stephanie Jones initiated this catastrophic sequence of events by violating the most basic of privacy rights, as well as any remaining trust her clients held.
The allegations against Jones run deeper than just leaking texts. She is accused of maliciously setting up fake social media profiles, specifically to harass former employees and respected journalists, including Matt Baldoni from Puck News. In one particularly troubling account, Jones reportedly informed her team, citing a psychic reading, that her senior staffer, Jennifer Ael, was both an alcoholic and a gambling addict. This accusation was entirely fabricated, yet it was openly repeated throughout the office, a deliberate attempt at personal and professional humiliation. On another occasion, the same psychic allegedly foretold Ael would be expecting twins, despite her widely known fertility challenges. This went far beyond toxic leadership, becoming a deeply personal and deliberate campaign of torment.
Jones maliciously turned over communications from the
Stephanie Jones's downfall began when she was terminated for cause by Wayfarer Studios due to her own wrongful behavior, but she didn't exit quietly. Within days, her allegiance dramatically switched. She allegedly seized Jennifer Ael's phone, accessing confidential communications without authorization. This was a stunning betrayal, taking from her own partner to curry favor with Blake Lively's personal publicist. That very same day, Jones reportedly passed those stolen texts and emails directly into the possession of Leslie Sloan, Blake Lively's longtime publicist. This wasn't an accidental leak. It was a calculated, weaponized transfer of highly sensitive information immediately after Jones was fired for her own misconduct.
Took from her own partner to her cohort, Lively's personal publicist.
The ambush on Jennifer Ael unfolded on August 21, 2020, just 2 days before Jones's planned exit from Jones Works. Ael arrived expecting a normal workday, but instead she walked into a meticulously staged scene at the Beverly Hills office. She was guided into a conference room where a physically imposing security guard positioned himself between her and the door. Sitting at the table were a forensic data extraction technician and a company attorney. This was no routine exit meeting. It was a coercive setup designed to extract her devices and information. Under extreme pressure and without any legal representation of her own, Ael was forced to hand over both her company-issued laptop and her deeply personal cell phone.
After Jones was terminated by Wayfair due to her own wrongful behavior. So basically, yeah, Stephanie Jones is fired by Wayfair. She's there defending Justin against Blake in the early days of the PR battle, the retaliation campaign.
The implications of Ael surrendering her phone were staggering. The number was linked to her iCloud, bank accounts, email, insurance, and nearly all her two-factor authentication for vital services. Jones's chief of staff verbally assured her the number would be transferred back once the transition finalized, a promise that proved to be devastatingly false. After surrendering the device, Ael spent nearly 4 hours at a Verizon store attempting to have Jones Works release the number as guaranteed, but to no avail. The chief of staff ceased responding to her calls, leaving Ael locked out of virtually every essential service in her life. Her digital identity had effectively been stolen by her own employer.
Jones was part of it. And so now suddenly Stephanie Jones switches teams and gets this phone from Jennifer Ael, which we're going to go through more of the specifics that are alleged in here, and then immediately gives it over.
The weaponization of Ael's phone was swift and brutal. On the very day it was confiscated, August 21st, 2020, Jones allegedly forwarded its entire contents to Leslie Sloan, Blake Lively's publicist. This immediate transfer initiated a coordinated campaign designed to portray Wayfarer Studios and Justin Baldoni as the source of the negative press surrounding the film It Ends With Us. Melissa Nathan, another Jones Works staffer, received calls from Leslie Sloan containing information that clearly could only have come from Jennifer Ael's seized phone. Texts from the phone were edited, taken out of context, and used by Lively's team to confront Nathan, demonstrating a rapid and premeditated sequence of events.
There's texts and calls where Melissa's being called saying, yeah, I have your phone. We have your friend's phone. We have all the information. Ha ha ha. How is this legal? How is this allowed? And was there actually a subpoena that the New York Times says there was when they got this phone?
This wasn't an isolated incident. It was a pattern. Stephanie Jones has a long history of sabotaging individuals as they depart her firm. Jennifer Ael had been warned by industry insiders before joining Jones Works that Jones carried a notorious reputation for mistreating employees and aggressively retaliating against those who left. She had previously faced accusations of stealing clients from rival PR firms and employing deceptive, unscrupulous tactics. This exact pattern repeated with Ael, but on a far more invasive and devastating level. Jones deliberately sought revenge on Ael, Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Nathan, ruthlessly exploiting the data she had unlawfully taken from Abel's phone.
She's a scary figure that, as previously reported, a lot in Hollywood are afraid of. But let's go there. I need your help. Let's go there. I hope my fellow sleuths out there.
Adding another layer of unsettling connection, Stephanie Jones is married to Jason Hodes, a senior partner at WME, the very talent agency representing both Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. This degree of involvement is highly atypical for a talent executive and suggests a deeper level of coordination within this unfolding drama. Court filings even indicate that Hodes texted Jennifer Ael's fiancé after her resignation, attempting to persuade her to remain at Jones Works, hinting at the intricate web of relationships at the top of Hollywood. There were even alleged texts between Stephanie Jones's husband and Ari Emanuel himself about Baldoni and this entire chaotic mess.
Like, we're all extremely tight-lipped and fearful of engaging in any sort of discussion about their experience with Jones Works.
Even after her termination from Wayfarer's accounts, Jones allegedly maintained direct ties with media outlets, bypassing official channels. Emails and messages cited in legal filings reveal she continued communicating with journalists and PR handlers, actively circumventing Wayfarer and Sony's internal teams to pitch stories and provide background. This intensified tensions in a media landscape already critical of Lively's film. Wayfarer's filings confirmed Jones was not authorized to act on the company's behalf at the time, yet she inserted herself directly into promotional discussions, frequently undermining her own team's efforts. When confronted, she reportedly told Wayfarer executives that she would do precisely as she pleased.
Baldoni, and particularly Ael witnessed Jones working with journalists to plant and contribute to negative stories about former clients who had fired Jones Works and Jones.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' initial legal strategy has been widely critiqued as a catastrophic miscalculation, Rather than targeting Jones Works, the PR firm directly responsible for the phone seizure and data leaks, their legal team inexplicably chose to sue individual employees, Jennifer Ael and Melissa Nathan, personally. This wasn't merely an oversight, it was a decision that left Lively and Reynolds vulnerable to significant counterclaims, while Stephanie Jones, the CEO and alleged orchestrator of the misconduct, remained untouched in their initial filings. Public court records from the Southern District of New York show defamation claims targeting Ael and Nathan, with no reference to Jones Works as a liable corporate entity.
Friedman's paying attention and throwing those bones out to make sure that everybody, that Blake's team sees who they're helping and aligning with.
Ryan Reynolds' attempts to distance himself from the central controversy further unraveled. His legal filings claimed he had no direct involvement with It Ends With Us, neither in production nor promotion. However, this assertion quickly proved untenable. Multiple interviews before the film's release featured Blake Lively openly stating that Ryan helped rewrite certain scenes, even during an appearance on The Kelly Clarkson Show in March 2020. Even more incriminating, emails disclosed by Wayfarer Studios confirmed that Ryan's own marketing firm, Maximum Effort, was consulted multiple times on the film's branding and rollout coordination. Internal correspondence from June 2020 showed Maximum Effort team members reviewing digital assets and providing notes.
Violates California labor laws according to Abel's employment, according to the lawsuit, which makes, honestly, a lot of sense. It's like absolutely bonkers that they were able to.
The public backlash intensified swiftly, further fueled by Blake and Ryan's awkward press appearances. At the film's Manhattan premiere on July 29, 2024, Blake Lively appeared visibly uncomfortable when questioned about the social media fallout. A red carpet interview with Entertainment Tonight saw her offering vague remarks about misinformation and bad actors without naming anyone. Critics immediately noted her evasiveness, fueling online speculation that Blake was well aware of the internal PR chaos and actively attempting to deflect. What began as skepticism over Blake's casting quickly escalated into outright hostility. Instead of appearing as victims of sabotage, Lively and Ryan Reynolds were now increasingly perceived as the aggressors in this unfolding drama.
Erratic and cruel in recent years, shed light on the toxic workplace she had fostered at Jones Works, and regularly would turn on deafening music so that she could berate her employees free from scrutiny. I don't think there was one day in the office that someone wasn't crying.
Jennifer Ael's legal team seized this narrative shift, leveraging California law aggressively. In September 2024, Ael's attorneys filed a powerful countersuit citing California Labor Code Section 925 and Business and Professions Code Section 166F0. Section 925 specifically shields employees from being compelled to resolve disputes in out-of-state courts when their work was performed primarily in California. Ael, working out of Jones Works' Los Angeles office for California-based clients like Wayfarer, fell squarely under these vital protections. Her 2020 employment contracts included unlawful non-compete clauses, extensive non-solicitation restrictions, and overly broad confidentiality requirements, all of which are unenforceable under California law.
Personal cell phone number, which would enable Jones Work to take possession of the physical device without gaining unrestrained access to his content. Again, so frustrating.
Ael's countersuit didn't stop at contract disputes. Her legal filings include multiple serious tort-based claims, false imprisonment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and invasion of privacy. These claims arise directly from the August 21st ambush in Beverly Hills, where she was cornered, had her devices confiscated, and was allegedly coerced into signing paperwork under duress. The false imprisonment claim is strongly supported by the presence of a private security guard who physically blocked her exit during the device handover. Her legal team contends that this action alone constituted unlawful confinement, a key element under California Civil Code.
Nathan claims that Leslie Sloan calls her. We have call logs here coming in from previous documents that talked about this. Melissa Nathan is now suddenly called by Leslie Sloan, who gets information that clearly she only would have gotten from Jennifer Ael's phone.
The invasion of privacy claim in Ael's counter-complaint is particularly severe. Paragraph 66 alleges that Stephanie Jones unlawfully accessed, copied, and distributed private data from Ael's phone, including personal texts and emails. This violation is egregious because Ael's phone contained both personal and sensitive client communications for Wayfarer, Sony, and other partners. The hypocrisy is glaring. Despite being bound by a strict confidentiality clause herself, Jones allegedly had no qualms about leaking those very communications to Leslie Sloan, Blake Lively's publicist. Legal experts note this could constitute both a civil and potentially criminal breach of California's stringent data protection laws.
That the New York Times says there was when they got this phone. Those are all the questions being asked, and I want to go through. We're going to try and do a quick summary of this.
If Jennifer Ael prevails in court, the consequences for Jones' works, and by extension Stephanie Jones herself, could be devastating. The firm could be liable for substantial compensatory damages, significant legal fees, and suffer reputational harm, severe enough to potentially collapse the entire operation. This toxic culture, once merely whispered about in Hollywood circles, now carries profound legal consequences. Multiple former employees are reportedly weighing whether to provide additional testimony, including one who allegedly possesses video footage of Jones yelling at staff inside the Los Angeles office, potentially painting an even darker picture of the firm's internal environment.
For her last day on August 21st, right at the end of all the bad press that Blake's facing, she arrives in the office where she's confronted by a physically imposing security guard, forensic data extraction technical expert, and an attorney, all at a conference table awash in documents.
The fear surrounding Stephanie Jones remains potent. Multiple industry insiders, including former JonesWorks employees and clients, reportedly possess evidence of misconduct, but refuse to speak on record, citing consistent fear of retaliation. Some allege they have seen Jones use fake social media accounts to harass former staffers. Others assert that she directly reached out to media outlets like Puck News to plant negative stories about departing clients or former collaborators. According to at least 2 anonymous sources referenced in internal court communications, Jones has a long-standing reputation for taking a scorched earth approach against anyone she considers disloyal.
JonesWorks suspected Ael had retained proprietary information on her laptop. Ael was told that JonesWorks would have grounds to sue if she'd not allow them access. Note here, Ael clearly very naive. You should have let them sue you.
One individual who refused to remain silent was Jed Wallace, a crisis consultant named in Blake Lively's legal complaint. Wallace submitted a declaration under penalty of perjury in October 2024, forcefully denying every accusation against him. He asserted that he never ran a digital smear campaign, never manipulated social platforms, and never executed any social combat plan, a term used by Lively's team in court filings. Instead, Wallace stated he was hired by Melissa Nathan solely to monitor sentiment and nothing more. In his sworn statement, Wallace emphasized, "I do not have a digital army in Los Angeles, New York, or anywhere else," characterizing Lively's team's narrative as inaccurate and misleading.
Is married to a senior partner at WME. His name is Jason Hodes. WME is the, talent agency that reps Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
Beyond the individuals embroiled in this scandal, the case highlights a much larger issue: the systemic abuse of PR power in Hollywood. Jones is certainly not the only person accused of manipulating media coverage or planting misleading narratives, but her case stands out. It's among the few with documented text messages, phone seizures, and witness testimony, all demonstrating precisely how weaponized PR operates behind closed doors. This is no longer theoretical. The evidence makes it undeniable. The lawsuit also starkly reveals how easily powerful public figures can deflect accountability by shifting blame downward, choosing scapegoats over confronting the true source of misconduct.
What's going on? These people are so connected.
It's a very tight community up top. By the way, Melanie King, enjoy your work on this stuff, and I appreciate everything you've been putting out.
Blake Lively's legal team strategically targeted Jennifer Ael and Melissa Nathan, employees with far less institutional power, instead of confronting JonesWorks' central role in leaking private data. Nathan was even threatened over the content of those texts. Both became scapegoats, while Jones remained publicly unchallenged by Lively or Ryan Reynolds, allowing her to operate unchecked for far too long. This deliberate decision to shield and empower Jones rather than holding her accountable now has come back to haunt them, tying their reputations to the very collapse they sought to avoid.
There were texts between Stephanie Jones' husband and Ari Emanuel about Baldoni and this whole mess. I mean, that would not be privilege. That'd be something that you could get a hold of through a...
The larger question now facing Hollywood is whether this saga marks a true moment of reckoning. The entertainment industry has long relied on strategic PR to spin stories, silence insiders, and shield powerful figures from scrutiny. Yet, as more documents leak and legal filings accumulate, the default practice of operating in secrecy is increasingly indefensible. Every new court motion brings additional damning evidence. Every ignored complaint becomes a looming liability, and every high-profile silence now feels less like discretion and more like complicity. The story is far from over, and its unraveling could fundamentally reshape the landscape of celebrity public relations forever.